What they're each doing is looking through that guidance. And I have to say the guidance, I think there probably hasn't been a single day that there hasn't been a new tranche of government guidance. They're working through that guidance and doing individual risk assessments in their school to make sure that they can adapt their premises, adapt and look at what staffing they've got, etc., to be able to put in place the things that are necessary. I think it's really important for them to go through that process to be able to then identify how it would work for them. Each school has got to look at what the space they've got. So they're already asking their parents who's potentially interested in coming back to school, who fits into one of the year groups that have been specified so far, and having to look at their spaces and doing the sort of planning that's required to see how that would work. So it really depends on the number of children you've got within those designated age groups and the space that you've got in your school and how you can look at that differently. So for primary schools, this is where the big effort will be, because it's reception year 1 and year 6. So they need to look at how many children they've got whose parents have said they'd like to go back to school within those age groups, and then look at the space they've got and work out how that might work. So it will be different in each school, and that's something that they're looking at to make sure that they can see how well they could adapt to the small group requirements that are being talked about. Each school has got to work it out themselves. And one of the other factors they've got to think about, obviously hugely important, is their school staff. So have they got staff who are in vulnerable categories themselves, so are only actually able to do work from home rather than be in the school premises? So they've got to look at all the bits of the jigsaw and work out how those fit together. So that will mean very, very different things happening in different places. So yes, it could look very different in terms of the sort of times that people are in school. That's one way of trying to work it through to make sure that it's as safe as possible. I think I'm really, really acutely aware that the current circumstances work really well for some children and don't work well for others. And I think that, I was a teacher for 10 years, so I know that teachers expect there to be a whole range of different ways in which people respond to circumstances. So there will be always in every classroom some who have got different needs to others. So yeah, absolutely. Online schooling isn't going to be something that everyone finds works for them. In terms of cancelling the year, that's not something that schools are actually have the ability to do, because you've got the new intake of students coming in September for the reception year. So it wouldn't be possible to cancel and restart the whole process. But schools are working through how to support the pupils when they come back to school, and they will recognise that they have different experiences. The amounts of learning they've done will have varied, and they will be planning accordingly.